What about?
Yeah, right.
All right.
What about the Facebook? Is the question.
I just kind of reset it. So let's see if he says something. Oh crap! 48 seconds.
That's all right. First round is pretty easy, I think. No matter what, you're gonna get
David Johnson.
top 10, top 12 person.
We'll see what Paul does. We still got to figure out if we're on the thing. I'm trying to figure this
David
out.
Johnson, right? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually really like Michael Vick this year. You should really.
Anthony's on the clock. So let's go ahead. Paul, do you know if the audio is working yet?
We'll see. I
Yep,
reset it.
I believe it's working. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
I
So
just pulled
welcome
it up.
again, everyone. In case you didn't hear us, this is the Shipe Sports Talk Show, doing live our fantasy draft and also previewing the NFC East, the Redskins, and our special guest today, Anthony, will help us preview the Giants. So Anthony, thank you for that. Thank you for being here. As always, I'm joined by Chris and Paul.
Hello,
Coach
hello.
What's going on?
is at football practice. We're sorry for the little malfunction
Shipe,
with.
it's on you right now.
It is me. Oh, it
It's
is on
you.
me. So here we go.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened to the sound, but I reset it.
So
and I guess it's back,
I'm on the clock right now, and I'm gonna go with. Oh man, this is hard.
I think it depends on the type of league you're in. For 10-team leagues, I definitely see him dropping in like top of the second, top of middle second. But in 12 to 14-team leagues, he's definitely rounding out the bottom of the first. I think
Yeah.
it just right around that is maybe 12, anywhere from like 8th to 15th pick. That's where
Mhm.
I've seen him, fall. Oh, well, who do I want?
All right, Chris is on the clock. So while Chris is on the clock, let's discuss. We're going to go over the NFC East today. Obviously, we're going to preview the Redskins. Like I said, Anthony's going to step in for the Giants, and we'll give our, our opinions on the Eagles and Cowboys. Obviously, the big trade for the Eagles that happened last week. Sam Bradford heading over to the Vikings, and now Carson Wentz will be the starter for Week 1 for the Eagles. So this should be very interesting on what's going to happen. Chris just took Brandon Marshall, so
Yeah, I don't like taking Rob Gronkowski. Even though he's an absolute monster, I just, I feel like tight end you can get something.
yeah.
You can get something later in the rounds that's worth it.
All right, so let's start with, we'll finish off with the Giants and Redskins. Let's first go with the Cowboys. So right now you have Tony Romo out.
He's out?
Yes. Yeah, question. Anthony, what do you think about that? Hurt again?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
And is it frozen?
Yeah, we can hear
Oh
you.
no, sorry.
oh,
I
this is
think he's
frozen.
just messing with the computer. That's why.
All right,
Well, here's the deal. I mean, he's still a rookie, and he did exceptionally well, I think, in the preseason. But we've seen teams go 4-0 in the preseason, then all of a sudden fall apart by week 1, 2. You know what I mean? So it's going to be exciting to see because I think he's a dual threat. He's got the running back and the offensive line that any rookie would want. But I really think having a rookie as a quarterback and a rookie as at running back, I think it's just going to be too much to put on two rookies to really do well this year.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Prescott, everyone, giving him everything. It's preseason. He was going against second stringers
Mhm.
for most of the time. They're even third guys who probably don't even have a job right now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I really can't take too much in that. I mean, Anthony, what do you think about Prescott so far? I mean, do you think you really can't take anything off of that because of who he was going up against?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Then they got ideas. Got ideas. Kind of things about that, especially because we thought like, oh, this guy's going to be, like someone with Kaepernick. He got that huge contract, and now Kaepernick.
Hold on 1 second, guys. We got people saying they can't hear Anthony.
Well, why not?
I don't know. Anthony will figure this out for you. Until then, I guess just keep going, and once someone will be able to tell us once they can hear you again.
Right. But yeah, so basically, I don't see it. I want to see more from him in the regular season as a starting quarterback than I make because his numbers
Yeah.
in the preseason, yes, they were, something to speak about because he did have great numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like to your point, playing against the second team and maybe even the third team on some of the plays. So he didn't play the guys that are going to be out there, 90% of the snaps when they're on, when he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to start, but, I mean, who wouldn't want to have Ezekiel Elliott as a running back and Des Bryant as a number one receiver? I mean, I think he's got the table set for him to succeed. I don't expect him really to take over Tony Romo's position right now, but I think if you're a Cowboys fan, you've got to be excited from what you saw. But I think we got to take it one step at a time. Let's see him against the first team defense. Against a defense that can actually plan and scheme for him after they get a couple games, game film. So we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Another thing, you got Elliott. I realize with the rookie quarterback, they're going to rely heavily on Elliott. But how much can you put on, a rookie running back? I mean, a lot of pressure is going to be on him. And I think a lot of pressure now is going to be on Des Bryant. But a lot of people aren't talking about is Jason Witten. And what's a rookie quarterback's best friend? Is a tight end. We saw that last year with Marcus Mariota. Delaney Walker led, I think, all tight ends with receptions.
Right.
Speaking of tight ends, Gronk was the first one taken off the board, obviously, in the second round.
I mean, it's kind
As
of
we saw
interesting, though, that he dropped that far.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen him drop that far, to be honest with you, to pick, number 15 or something like that? Yeah, pick 15.
All right. People are saying that they had him for a second, then he went back to super low. But I mean, I think Jason Witten is due for probably a big first couple weeks. What do you all think about Witten? Maybe being possibly his favorite target for the first couple weeks. I mean,
Ooh, what was that?
that came on my. Thing.
Oh, that's Paul's computer. It's your pick now, Paul.
Go ahead, Paul. Okay, but Anthony and Chris, your reaction to maybe Jason Witten being a bigger part of this offense now, especially with a rookie quarterback and tight ends being a rookie quarterback's best friend.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, we saw Delaney Walker all of a sudden have pretty much an all-pro season last year, and I think it's pretty common in the NFL. But I don't think he's going to do as well as you might think. I feel like he's going to do a lot better than he has the past couple of years. But I think the Dallas Cowboys want to run the ball, and I think that's what their primary game plan is going to be. So will he have a better year than last year? Yes. Is he going to go back to the Pro Bowl? I don't think so. Not yet.
All right, Anthony, what do you think about that?
I agree. I think that he'll have a lot of targets to start off because he is going to be a security blanket for the young guy, the rookie. But I don't see him being, an all-pro anymore at this or a Pro Bowler at this late in his career. I think he's going to be steady numbers, might have 5 or 6 touchdowns. But I don't think he's going to be, making over, having some crazy numbers to where they're talking about, oh, man, is he having some kind of fountain of youth? I don't think it's going to be that serious of a discussion. I think once Romo comes back, at midseason, Des Bryant's numbers are going to continue to elevate with that because I think a lot of people are going to double cover Des Bryant knowing that he's going to try and rely on him, and that might be where Witten gets more looks.
All right, well, we just had actually speaking of tight ends, our second one just came off the board in the second round, which is Jordan Reed. I've seen him taken ridiculously high the past couple drafts I've done, especially in your draft. I think he was taken pretty high there as well. What do you think this is too high for our second tight end to go 21st?
Go ahead, Anthony. It's fine.
I like Jordan Reed, to be honest with you. Again, another NFC East guy, but I like the potential he has. Do I think it's too high? In the way your format is, yes. Do I think it's too high if this is a normal 2-receiver, 2-running back form? No, I don't, because I think he is the second best tight end behind Gronkowski. If he's healthy, I don't see why Cousins won't rely on him again this year.
Can they hear Anthony?
Receivers there.
We'll wait to hear this.
Can you?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Anthony.
You guys can hear me. Okay, yeah, no problem. Receivers there, for the most part. I mean, Garcon's good, but I really think that Jordan Reed at his position is an elite player. when healthy. So I think that he's definitely a pick you want to take early if you can grab him.
All right. Well, here's my problem with Reed is has he had a 16-game season, which is no.
And that's his biggest
That's
issue.
that's the problem right now. I mean, if he stays healthy, it'll be. I mean, we're going talking about the Russians mostly because it's for fans. Stays healthy, he'll probably be a top 1, maybe top 2 tight end. I honestly believe he can put up more numbers than Gronk, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, it's going to be interesting because Gronk is not going to have his BFF Tom Brady for the first 4 games, and they did bring in a second tight end.
Which I think will take a lot. Which is why I think maybe this draft you saw him drop.
Right, it's certainly possible. I mean, we did see Gronk and Hernandez put up
2 great numbers.
Two
but
awesome
Gronk
numbers,
never
but-
had the numbers he had until
Exactly.
Hernandez left.
Right.
So all right, so we're on the Cowboys. All right, let's switch now to the Eagles. New coach and Doug Peterson.
Yep.
New quarterback now. It was Sam Bradford until about a week ago. Now we got Carson Wentz. Here you go, buddy. North Dakota State. Welcome to the NFL. You're thrown in there. He hasn't played preseason since week 1 when he hurt his ribs.
Yep.
And now he's being thrown into the doghouse. What do you all think about that? Chris, let's start with you. Do you think they should have went with Chase Daniels, or do you think this is too early for Wentz?
I mean, personally, I think I'm biased, and I think we've had this conversation before. I really liked, I guess, now that he's not on the Eagles anymore, but I definitely like Sam Bradford. I don't feel like a lot of the Eagles, failures were based on him, but I think the Eagles just kind of gave up on this year, honestly. I feel like they traded away their best option at quarterback to try to rebuild in the next couple years. And
who won the trade?
who won the trade?
I think the Eagles did.
I think the Eagles won,
Get a
hands down.
first round and a 4th round.
Potentially a second rounder.
Yeah, if they make the Super Bowl.
If they make the Super Bowl, right? But
That's
Either-
I can't believe that's how desperate the Vikings were. They could have gotten another quarterback probably for a least amount.
I definitely read an article where I think the Vikings, it was the GM or the president or whatever. Basically, he said that every team smelled blood in the water. I mean, if they had tried to make this trade before Bridgewater went down, they probably didn't have to pay that much of a hefty price. What I read is teams were asking for a first rounder, and ultimately they gave away a first rounder, but a first rounder plus a talented player that they wanted to trade, and they just weren't willing to do that. And the Eagles were the only team that really accepted the first rounder and the 4th rounder. So, but I don't think Carson is ready. And I think we're going to be able to see that really early. And I think it was maybe a week or 2 ago where basically they said,
You're
just going to be on the bench. This is Sam Bradford's team. So I don't know. I don't think that they definitely, I think, made the right move for the future for the team. But for right now, I can see them finishing 4-12 easily.
All right, Anthony, what do you think about Wentz?
Yeah, I very much agree with every point that Chris made there. I think Wentz did not need to be the starter. I'm not a big fan of a lot of these young quarterbacks coming in. I mean, there's always the case where you see that they're ready to go. I don't think Wentz is ready. Like you said, he played 1 week in the preseason. They're basically saying, you know what, let's phone in this season and let's see what happens. I don't understand. And they took advantage of the Vikings because, like Chris said, the Vikings were in a win-now mentality. They think the team that they have built with Bridgewater or with Bradford, Bradford's another good choice. Oh, sorry. Let me just make my pick real quick.
Well, he makes my pick.
There we go. I'm good. I'm already done. I know who I
Oh,
was taking. So,
God.
yeah, that's exactly who I wanted.
Yeah.
I was so thank you, Paul, for taking Ty.
He said thanks for taking Ty because he wanted Cooper.
So, I'm looking at it like the Eagles had Bradford, and again, I agree with Chris there. They blamed a lot on Bradford. Bradford was not the whole issue.
No.
A lot of the receiver, Jordan Matthews was dropping a lot of passes.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Ertz was not coming up big when they were relying on him to be the star tight end. They had to rely on Selleck again as the number 2 tight end, and the running game really, DeMarco Murray never got off the ground there, and that's why you see him not there anymore. And they couldn't figure out who to go with when they were going back and forth with Matthews, Sproles, and all this. So I think that with the new coach, I personally think that it should have been Chase Daniel because Peterson and Daniel worked together before, but.
Mm-hmm.
We just had the first quarterback taken in the draft. Cam Newton.
Was it? Yes.
Cam Newton was taken first, he's been the number 1 quarterback taken in mostly every draft first. So Cam Newton's off the board.
So
And then James made a comment that I guess James wanted Amari and that you took him right before him.
that's right. Amari's got to go, man. 3 receivers. You got to grab that second one this early. But I agree. I think that the Eagles will finish last now because of that trade, unless Wentz
100%.
shocks all of us, which I don't see happening because I haven't seen enough of it yet. So
Mm-mm.
I mean, with Wentz, I think it's way too early to start someone, especially since he was in a Division, 2, whatever school that North Dakota State in. Obviously, he didn't even play all the final season. He was hurt at North Dakota State, so it's crazy to see this happen. It just shows that the right price, anyone's willing to go, and I think the Eagles just couldn't pass up a first round pick.
No.
I mean, you can't pass it up. So the second quarterback was just taken in Aaron
Ooh,
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Well, you did change the settings for quarterbacks. Quarterbacks do get 6 touchdowns, so that maybe is why 2 quarterbacks are going in the 3rd round.
Oh, 6 points for a touchdown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
6 points for a
Oh,
touchdown.
man, I need to get on this quicker. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, I still wouldn't spend a 3rd round on a quarterback, but if one of the elites falls to the 5th or 6th, I certainly would spend a pick on a quarterback.
I
that
agree.
early.
I think your top 10 are very close in points.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
So you're not missing too much.
No, I don't think so. And we need what? How many receivers do we need in this league?
3.
3 with the flex.
With the flex is 4 if you
Right,
want to use a receiver,
and
yeah.
Especially since the running back really is not that deep. I mean, you're probably going to put a receiver in that flex position.
Yeah.
I very much agree.
I should have probably tight end too in the flats.
Yeah, but
You could probably update that at some point anyway. I mean, if everyone agrees on it, I don't think that's
I'm
a big
not
issue.
sure.
But
We'll
I
see.
think it will be. So back on Carson Wentz. So now does that devalue, the wide receivers there, you're looking, they also got Green Beckham from Tennessee, who's looked not too bad in the preseason for the Eagles, obviously, but I mean, he was traded for his work ethics in Tennessee. So, I mean, you got to see what happens with that. So, I mean, it's a young quarterback, young receiving core all around. Now you got also Matthews and Sproles. So this is a completely different Eagles team. So, I mean,
that's why.
Anthony, how do you think they're going to do in this division?
like I said, I don't see the Eagles being very successful this season. Again, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, I think that they grabbed a lot of younger guys, and they're looking to rebuild. They're going to take more players in the draft next year, and they're going to give Wentz, this year under his belt. I think that Wentz should have got the year under his belt on the bench, maybe playing like spot games if Daniels did have that rough of a season, but I don't think that they should have. I mean, you look at the Rams, Case Keenum ain't going to win you, 8. He's not going to make you a playoff team.
No.
But they're not going to push Goff in there either. He's already inactive week
Yeah,
1.
I
He's
just
not
re-
even
I
going to
just
be
heard
on the
that.
roster.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have Mannion as the backup. So, I mean, they're showing you they have a lot of, faith. That's the word I'm looking for, in Goff. And that's what the Eagles should have done with Wentz. But I don't understand. And the NFC East is always a tough division, when it comes to that. It might not have the best records, but it's always a close, competitive. So I really think they should have waited off on playing him. But, maybe Peterson knows something we all don't know.
Well, obviously, like I've been saying, Chase Daniels signed for all that money. Now he's still going to be a backup. You think with all the money they gave him, he would jump right into the slot number 1, but now he's still being a backup role. What do you think how do you all think he feels about that?
Your wife just took my 2 draft picks.
Jamal Charles and Raymond
Yeah.
Cobb?
Yeah. Now I got to think for a minute.
We knew that's going to happen. It happens.
I figured she'd take one of the 2, but not both.
Now, Charles, he may be out for a couple weeks or 1 or 2, but you got to think right now, she has Bell and Charles, so once those both come back, that's a pretty good duo at running back.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
we'll see how that
I
goes.
love the Le'Veon Bell pick. Really do. I still think he'll be in the top 3 in running backs for fantasy
Oh,
points
without a
despite
doubt.
missing 3 weeks. Yeah.
Especially since they moved it from 3 to 4. I mean, from 4 to only 3 weeks, it's not going to be
That's
that
what I'm
bad.
saying, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
So we got Chris on the clock now. So let's talk about the Eagles a little bit. You're running a lot of young guys, Zach Ertz and Brett Selt. Zach Ertz, we're talking about tight ends. He could emerge finally as a fantasy threat since we're talking about the draft here because of the targets he could get once, like we say, a young quarterback's best friend is his tight end. How do you all feel about Ertz finally entering like his 3rd or 4th year? He hasn't really had that breakout campaign because Selleck has been there. Is this the year we finally see him break out finally into his own?
Chris, you want to take it?
No, Chris is doing his
Sorry,
draft
I'm-
pick. Go ahead, Anthony.
All right, I'll
stumped
take it
right
first
now.
then. Yeah, no problem. I'll let you focus on that. I don't think Ertz is going to break out this year either. I think Wentz still needs to get the offense. I think that he'll get a lot of targets, but I just don't see it being a breakout season because he had some opportunities last year too, and he really didn't. He's kind of squandered them. I thought. because I drafted him last year with with the same thing that you're saying, that he should have had a breakout year, but it really seemed flat to me. And I think Matt is actually on the clock now, if I'm not mistaken.
It
Yep.
is me.
So that's why you kind of see the both of them are very focused right now on their next pick. And I should probably be looking to see what I'm going to do since I'm in 3. But I see Matt's idea here. He's trying to get myself off the game. I knew he was going to try and pull this on me here.
What are you gonna pick next, Anthony? So I can pick it instead of you.
Well, no, Anthony goes first.
Yeah, I go before you this time.
Yeah.
So
The other
now-
way,
Oh, that's
when
right.
we go
Now
back
that,
the other
now
way,
that
then you
Anthony
go
has to
first.
think about Chris,
Who
what do
did
you
you want to take, Paul?
Chris, what do you think about Zach Ertz this year? Do you think he finally moves off to the next step?
That's tough because in this preseason, he's definitely asserted himself and put him into that number 1 tight end for the team. But I just don't see him being consistent enough. I mean, especially with probably inconsistent play at quarterback, I really don't see him, emerging as a top 10 tight end this season. I really don't. I've never liked him, and I don't think he's going to do well this year either.
Okay.
I just think the entire offense as a whole is just gonna suck. To be honest, I don't even see Jordan Matthews. I don't see Ryan Matthews. I don't see either one of them breaking top 20. To be honest with you.
All right. Well, now also our former Guillermo, speaking of everyone taking players, everyone in his queue list is now gone. So, yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's
It's a
how it
little
goes.
early for that.
So, all right. So now it's time we move on to Anthony's team, which is the Giants.
Let me make
Giants.
my pick first.
Well, while Anthony do his pick, we'll start it off. Giants spent a ton of money on defense this offseason. Janoris Jenkins, Damian Harrison, Oliver Vernon.
Olivier Vernon.
Olivier. What the hell?
Olivier.
Well, they say it's spelled different than what it says. Whatever. So
Spelled Oliver, but
yeah, I know. So he spent a ton of money, I just said like Anthony did. The Giants spent a ton of money on defense. They
I
drafted
think over 200 million.
Yeah, and they drafted what was it, Eli Apple in the first round?
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, see, look,
10th pick, yeah.
see that? I'm throwing him off this game here. They drafted
Shut up.
Eli Apple in the first round. Prince is gone, obviously, and then they also draft Sterling Shepard. But during the preseason, this offense did not look that good. I'm sure Anthony, once he does his pick, he can agree with that. Can you agree with that, Anthony? The offense didn't look good during the preseason.
It's my go.
I think the line, like I said, I think that's a huge issue. I know we didn't really have everyone all together at one part in the season, but they had to go back, and get Will Beatty back after they cut him because of how much money they gave him, which was stupid when they paid him as an elite left tackle and he's not. So we'll see how that pans out, because now they're putting Flowers over there. But if that offensive line doesn't block, Eli Manning is not. I mean, I don't know if this is going to shock you guys, but Eli Manning is not a mobile quarterback.
No.
So if you get pressure on him, he's done. He's going to
going
go down.
He's going
He's not
down.
getting outside the pocket.
No.
The running game does not seem like anything that's going to help him. So he's going to have to rely on, and that's why I was, when you asked me at the top of the show if I prefer Brown over Beckham, I prefer Brown, because if he's not going to get protection and they don't have a run game, they're just going to keep Beckham double covered. They're not going to let balls go to him.
Well, Victor
So
Cruz, he's going to come. Hopefully, he looked pretty good, looked healthy.
He had one catch from what I saw. I don't, you know what I mean? I
they're
like
saying
Sterling Shepard's potential.
They're saying he looked good in the preseason. I mean, not the preseason, like in training camp. But I think Victor Cruz is now someone that you have to put back in the slot.
Kirk Cousins or Andrew Luck?
What kind of question is that?
Andrew Luck. Yeah.
Anyway,
You got 10 seconds, so I would definitely make your choice.
Oh man, I would definitely go Kirk Cousins. No, all right.
5 seconds.
don't take.
Okay,
Kirk.
yeah.
So
At this-
I think,
this round you got to take Luck with the value there.
and
Yeah.
in this stage in his career and the injuries, Cruz needs to go back to probably playing a slot, just because he won't be on the field as much as normal. And you got to move. Sterling Shepard will probably be the number 2 guy there. I mean, is that safe to say, Anthony?
Yeah, I think Shepard should be the number 2 guy.
And I think he
I
is.
think Cruz should be in a slot,
He
and
is
he
now,
is the
right?
number 2
Yeah, in
guy.
the depth
he
chart,
is.
I think he is officially.
They actually had a lot of receivers in the preseason that really came out and showed up. So they actually cut Jeremy Davis, who last year was playing as the number 3 receiver, and he actually is on the practice squad now because 2 new guys showed up, and one of them was Tavares King, and then the other one I can't remember his name right now, but both of them Roger something I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Roger Lewis Jr. I think was his name. The both of them made the
thanks.
team. So they're actually Kelvin Benjamin again. Are you kidding me? But I like to see where it goes. But as far as the offense, everyone, you were talking about they spent $200 million on the defense, and that's great. But if the offense can't make plays, the defense is going to be tired. They're not going to be able to do anything either on the defensive side. So, who's picking right now? Because it got awfully quiet. Or is someone coming up out of you two?
No,
Mm-mm.
we're way. Graham is someone that used to play baseball for Coach Shipe.
So,
Well, let me ask you, Anthony, what do we're on the topic of the Giants, so what do you predict their season, their record to be at the end of this season? What do you think? Do you think they win the division? Do you think they come second? Do they make the playoffs? What are we looking at?
from what I saw in the preseason and the games I watched, if the Giants finish, and I'm going to say this, and you guys are going to be like, wow, but if the Giants finish 8-8, I would be surprised at the way they looked in the preseason on offense. Defensively, leaps and bounds. Eli Apple looks like he's going to be great. But I mean, they're moving Rogers Cromartie to safety right now on defense. They don't even have a safety other than Landon Collins really to start. When they could have signed Antrell Roll back in the offseason, at least he knew the schemes and he could have taught one of the young guys. But I don't like what I saw from the offense. Now, week one, the offensive line might be all healthy and they come out and they're blocking everybody.
Exactly, yeah.
But from what I saw and what I can base it off of right now, I see them being an 8-8 team. I think they might finish second because I don't think Prescott's going to do as well for the Cowboys to start the season. But I don't see
Me again?
I don't see the Giants. Oh, there goes Kirk Cousins. Look at that.
Wow.
That's pretty early.
Is this too early for Kirk? Let's react to that pick. You got Ben Roethlisberger out there. You got Carson Palmer, Phillip Rivers, even Tom Brady still out there. And you take Kirk Cousins this early?
Hey, can I ask you a question, Matt?
Go ahead.
Do you like that?
Oh, jeez. This early?
I kind of knew that was coming.
I'm sorry. Does anyone else think that's too early?
It's a little early, but when you got pride in your team, you do what you got to do.
That is true.
Do we have money on the line here?
He was a
No.
bigger man than me because I wanted to take him, but then I got peer pressured into taking who's this guy?
Andrew
I have pride
Luck.
in my team, too. And who's this guy? Andrew Luck.
some
Hey, you know what?
nobody.
I'll do you a favor. I'll trade you my last pick for Andrew Luck since you don't really care about him too much.
All right, so back on the Giants. Sorry about that. So you really think the best is probably going to be 8-8?
From what I saw, yeah. From what I saw. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you record-wise? What do you think?
Well, I kind of looked at the schedule earlier today, and based off of what we just said about the Eagles and the Cowboys, I think it's 50-50 between the Redskins and the Giants. I really honestly think
It depends on who comes out strong because once Romo comes back, that Cowboy team's going to be pretty good. So you got to get ahead of them as quick as you can.
Here's the deal, though. Even if the Redskins start off strong, have you seen the second half of their schedule?
Sucks. It's brutal. That's why they have to go strong.
I think it's going to come down to the very last game of the season, Redskins versus Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I think the winner of that game wins the division and makes it to the playoffs. I think
really hope.
I think it's going to come down to that because I don't think the Giants' offensive line obviously looked terrible this preseason, but I don't think they're going to be that terrible for the whole season. I think eventually they'll get it together. Eventually Odell Beckham is, you can just lob it up and he'll catch it. Eventually Sterling Shipe will get, acclimated into the offense and will end up being the clear-cut number 2. And I don't see Eli Manning. Well, I guess he has done terrible before, but I still think he will end up being a top 10 quarterback. I really do.
But here's the problem. This is a team, the Giants team, that should have won the division last year. And the reason I'm saying that is they probably left 5 games where they were leading with at least, 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and they lost.
And
First week, second week, and I think
they addressed that.
Yep.
And I think if you just split half of those games, and let's say they won half of those games, then or let's say they do win half of those games now because it's a new season with a new defense, I think they will, like I said, I think it's going to come down to that very last game. Someone's going to finish 8-8 and someone's going to finish 7-9. Yep. And that's probably going to be the deciding factor, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm not disagreeing. I think the offensive line, I don't think is going to come out that bad. Nice pick, whoever just picked Allen Hurns.
I have Robinson
But
and Hurns on my team.
I was going to
now.
ask you, I don't like what made you take both Jacksonville. You like doing that? I don't like taking people on the same team.
I really don't know, but maybe I can get something for Robinson or Hurns maybe later on of a trade. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like those two can both put up pretty good numbers.
Here's the deal: the only team I feel comfortable doing that with is the Packers.
True.
You got Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and I stupidly picked Jared Cook as well in my work league, and I was like, oh man, what a great pick for the last round, without realizing now I have 3 receivers for the Packers. But I think really the only team that's worth doing that is really with the Packers, especially the season they have coming up this year. I think statistically they have the easiest schedule. I could definitely see them doing for that, but I don't think the Jaguars' offense is going to be as prolific as they were last year. You know, they're not going to need to do, like you told me, the sleeper pick is the Jags' defense. I don't think they'll have to have so many garbage time touchdowns anymore. So we'll see how that goes, though. We'll see
I
how
agree.
that goes.
I think their defense is on the up and up with the draft picks that they made and the signings they made. So I don't think they're gonna. I think Bortles will still do quality, but I don't know if he's gonna have the same numbers.
All right, so back to the Giants. You know, let's talk about. You know, they could start off the season 4-0, and they could start. You know, maybe 2-2. I think
0-4.
I think they have a good chance to maybe start.
Ah, Delaney Walker, man, damn it.
Oh God. Well,
That's what I was gonna take too. I knew I should have took him.
That's who I wanted to, but I took a receiver instead. Yep. But, you know, I think the big... Why am I... Okay, I thought I heard an echo for a little bit. I think the big game for the Giants is going to be their game with the Redskins. I think they play, week 3? That game right there could decide, you know, who goes in the division and who goes back to the bottom. What do you two think about that? Do you think it's a big matchup for week 3 already?
It's going to be a big matchup, yeah, but I think week 1 the Giants have to go out there and they need to set a precedent. You know, and show that the offensive line injuries was what was causing it, and now they're all together, and they have to win that game in you know, against Dallas week 1. They need to go in there and they need to prove and show why they should be even talked about in the top of the NFC East, because they're going to play the Redskins, like you said, week 3, and if they lose to the Cowboys, they're almost, you know, you don't want to start off 0-2 in the first 3 weeks of the season in the NFC East. So they got to go in Sunday night to play the Cowboys, and they got to play to win. They can't be going there, and if they lose by a field goal, being like, "Oh, it's only one game," because, like you just said, 2 weeks later they're going to Washington. So,
yep. And
they got to make a statement.
Same for Washington. They got 2 back-to-back NFC East games. I think right at the beginning you got Cowboys in week 2, and then you guys in week 3, I believe.
Yeah. Statements have to be made early. Everyone always says, you know, that the NFL. This isn't like the MLB where the first couple of games aren't as meaningful. Every game counts in the NFL, especially when it comes to division. So, someone needs to step up right away. And I hope that I'm wrong, like I said, about the Giants, but we'll see how that pans out.
I truly believe that division is really wide open this year, especially with Romo getting hurt and everything. But, you know, real quick on the Cowboys, did you all watch anyone turn on Fox Sports 1 this morning at 10 o'clock?
No, I'm at work.
Anyone notice Undisputed?
Undisputed?
It's exactly the same.
Oh, well,
same
you knew that was gonna
thing
happen.
but here's the funny part: the layout's the same. The way you watch on TV, everything at the bottom. It's literally like they just took ESPN's first take, put it on Fox Sports, and said, "Look, let's call it Undisputed," and just change the coloring on everything. Like, come on, come up with something new, and you know.
Wait, what does that have to do with the Dallas Cowboys? I'm sorry.
Because who do you think?
loves the
Skip
Cowboys.
Bayless was on there, and that's what they went on. Speaking of which, you know who hated that he was signed by Fox Sports? Troy Aikman hated it, and I never knew why until recently, what he said was that Skip Bayless, Anthony, I don't know if you know about this, when you know how he used to cover the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, he did.
Put out an article saying that Troy Aikman was gay without any fats or anything.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I just heard about that today too.
Wow.
But that's, you know, and Skip is going to love it because more people are going to tune into this new show that he's got on now, and you know, any type of publicity is good publicity, and that's in that spot. So,
yep,
he's going to feed off of it.
Yep. All right. So now it's time to go what everyone's probably been waiting for, and that is Coach just gave his prediction for the Giants, and he says 10-6 or 9-7, and they win the NFC East.
Yeah,
that's generous. Thank you, Coach.
I mean, I can see that. If they get their offensive line together, I think they have a chance of, you know, overthrowing the Redskins this year. I really think the Redskins are going to struggle. I feel like they're going to struggle just to get to 500 this year. Just because based off of the second half of that season, it's crazy. I don't see us winning 2 in a row in the second half of the season.
I love how we were talking about the Packers. You know, they are projected to win 16 games.
They are every single game.
They're
They're projected
to lose
win.
it all, and that's you know, I mean that's incredible,
Mm-hmm.
especially the teams I think they have to play. But all right, let's move on to the Redskins this year. division winners from last year. They're once again the first. I guess you can say Kirk Cousins, a first year starting quarterback for a whole season, took this team to a division title like Robert Griffin. So this year, difference is Robert Griffin gone. Cleveland, have fun. You can deal with it. I think someone called him on one of the shows I watch RG Cleve or whatever.
What?
I don't know, some stupid nickname they came up with.
Okay.
So he's over there now. So now you have Kurt, who now has a full off season working with the first teams and everything. Unlike last year where he's just, what was it, I think it was like week 2 or week 3, that's when RG3 went down. He came in. It's like, okay, you're the starter now. But now he's had an entire off season. Does Kirk Cousins, does he get better and better stats, or does he take a step back? Anthony, let's get it from a Giants fan point of view. What do you think happens?
Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Sorry, I was laughing at James there in the chat there.
Yeah.
Since I've taken,
Oh, that's who that is? Matt still sucks?
Yeah, it's James. So, Anthony, does he take a step forward or does he take a step back?
Listen, man, I think Kirk Cousins has what it takes to be a pocket passer in the NFL. He has that, the intangibles that you need. I don't think that there's any reason why he won't continue to excel.
Got a question
in the
Got a
NFL.
question. Who's throwing for Dallas right now?
Dak
Dak
Prescott.
Prescott.
Don't
Do not take
don't- do not take
a
him.
quarterback
Don't take
right
him.
now.
No, I'm not taking quarterback. I'm just thinking tight end.
Oh,
Witten
okay. Yeah, but that's not
Yeah, you
bad.
can take Witten. You got 10 seconds. Better make that
or
move.
Gates.
I don't know. You got to hurt.
You better
there you go.
hurry up.
Hashtag Matt still sucks. It's
Paul,
there
you
it
got-
is. It's
there you go.
Hashtag Matt still sucks.
But yeah, I like Cousins. I really do. I actually think he's really good. And I think he has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback this season. I don't think so yet, but I think he'll take that next step forward. And with, like we talked about him earlier, if Jordan Reed's healthy, and Matt Jones is another big intangible. If he's going to be able to be healthy for most of the season, I know they're already questioning if he's going to play week 1, that he got hurt in the preseason. But if he's healthy and he has a good run game, which is what they banked on by letting Alfred Morris go, then I think that Kirk Cousins could take that next step. Because the run game is huge to quarterbers. It really is.
I truly believe letting Alfred Morris go is going to come back to bite them in the ass.
I don't
because
think so.
their run game was horrible during the preseason. It wasn't there.
Yeah, but you can't. That's the thing. When you look
You're
at
a
the
Florida
preseason-
guy. I know you like Matt Jones.
No, it's not. I'm not a Gator fan. Please don't ever say that again. I don't like the Gators. But I watched Matt Jones, and he did pretty good last season. He wasn't bad. He's got to hold the fumbles down, but there's been many of running backs that have had fumble issues and became great stars for their team. I don't think Alfred Morris
Tiki
being
Barber.
let go there was an issue. Yeah, Tiki Barber. I was just about to
Tiki's
say.
problem is he retired 1 year too early.
Well, well, you know what? He left, and he had a lot to say about Eli, and Eli won 2 Super Bowls. But we're not talking about the Giants no more. Tiki changed his thing, and he held it high and tight, and it numerously, exponentially dropped his fumbles. So maybe that's something they could talk to Matt Jones about, because Matt Jones, I think, has the explosiveness to be a good running back there. And look at Alfred Morris. He went to a team on the Cowboys that only had Darren McFadden, who gets injured all the time, and he couldn't even unseat him. And then they drafted Elliott, which shows they had no faith in him either. So I don't think that the Redskins made a bad move dropping Alfred Morris. I think they wanted to show that they had faith in Alfred Morris being the bell cow of the team. And Thompson's not bad either. And another guy people should watch for in deeper leagues. I wouldn't probably take him here, but it's the rookie they just drafted, the Redskins, at running back. The name slipped my mind right now.
It's not Keith Marshall. Is it not Keith Marshall? Is it Keith Marshall?
I thought it was Brown.
Matt Brown. No,
Yeah.
Matt Brown got
No.
No. Who
Oh,
is
man,
it?
I'm going to have to look it up.
It was
Hold
either
on.
Keith Marshall or Matt Brown.
I don't remember his name, but I drafted him yesterday in my Dynasty League, and he's going to probably be the starter because Thompson is coming off a torn labrum. So I think they got potential there, but I think definitely see
Or is it Kelly?
Alfred Morris being a yes, Kelly.
Rob
That's who it is.
Kelly, right?
Yep, Rob
Yeah.
Kelly. That was the name. Yep. So
We'll see how it goes. I mean, based off his fumbles, if the fumble bug hits him again, if he can't find the holes, if something happens where he's just not being productive, how long do you think we would wait to put Kelly right into the starting role?
Mhm.
How long do you think that would take?
I think only a couple weeks because you can't afford fumbles.
That's
'Cause
well,
then you keep your defense.
I
out
think
there
it's
even
different,
longer.
right? If he's fumbling, 2 games, 3 games in a row, I think you may have to switch at game 3, game 4. But if he's just not being effective, I think maybe week 6 to 8 somewhere in there is when it might be time for a change, depending on how the team is doing overall. Because Kelly did have, I think, a pretty good preseason. So it'd be nice to see what he can do in the regular season.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we got to see with this run game going because the pass game, there is no problem with these receivers. I think Anthony can even agree as a Giants fan. I mean, you got a pretty good.
Oh, crap.
What happened?
Am I up?
No.
No,
I was
not
up.
yet.
I got nervous there.
I'm
for a
sure
second. I
Anthony's
just saw
got a
my
few
name
picks. You got
highlighted.
a few picks.
I'm sure Anthony can agree. This receiving core for the Redskins all around is not bad because you're going to have, Deshaun Jackson for over the top. I'm sure Anthony knows for many years what he can do against the Giants, especially in punt returns. I went there. Like, well, we're gonna see a connection drop on
You
the
got to
sky.
talk about teams that are relevant anyway when the Titans win something. So
Oh.
Was it a rage quit? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. So you have
was
Deshaun,
close.
who's your deep threat. You have Pierre, who's your possession guy. Jordan Reed, obviously in the passing game. Even Niles Paul, how good he was. Before, he was slated to start last year when Reed went down the first. I think it was like the preseason, the first couple weeks.
Well, now we have
And then-
Vernon Davis now.
Yeah, I
as
forgot
tight
about
end
Vernon
too.
Davis, which could help out, and he looked pretty good in the preseason. Everyone thought he was
He was
maybe not.
fine. He did have one drop
Yeah,
in the
but
end
that was
zone,
the first one.
But after
That's
that,
fine.
he got that out the way. He's, he did pretty well.
Crowder's coming back, and Dotson.
Of course, the rookie that we just
is
drafted.
finally on the practice field. Let's give him a hand.
Yeah, right.
It only took him 5 or something weeks. What do you guys think about this receiving core? Chris, let's go with you first.
Oh well, there. Look, Anthony just drafted.
he just took Matt Jones. Talked about
We
him
were
and
just
took
talking
him.
about him. I'm sorry, I missed your question because I was looking at what Anthony was going to pick. What was the question?
What do you think about this receiving core all around, including tight ends?
I think it's great. I think it's just a matter of can Kirk Cousins get the ball to those receivers, and also I think this will be the last year we have this core of receivers because, like you were telling me earlier, I don't think we're going to be able to keep both Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon on this roster. And I think that's kind of why we drafted Dotson, so that way we could have somebody at that number 2 spot, depending on who leaves. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I just don't know how this defense is going to match up against all these strong teams, all these first-place teams that we have to play this year. We'll see how it goes.
By the way, before I let Anthony answer, I just want to say, big thanks to Paul for actually putting the draft on the YouTube where people can see who's being picked live as it happens. So Paul,
Oh, really? I didn't even see
Paul,
that. That's
thank
pretty
you for
awesome.
that. That's awesome, man.
Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go to the YouTube.
Oh,
and
wow.
check
Yeah,
it
I'm
out.
looking
down
at the
there for
link
you,
right
Matt.
now. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, one of the guys in the chat room just said,
you don't have to
Um,
repeat the word, but
no,
we can
he
see it.
said, "I hate you, Shipe, because you just took Derrick Henry." Which I think,
I was actually almost taking him, but Matt Jones is the starter, so I went
So,
with that.
From another fan's point of view, what do you think about this receiving core for the Redskins and what they could do with this? You went and got Janoris Jenkins. What do you think about your secondary against this receiving core?
You asking me this?
I'm asking you. Like the Giants secondary against this type of receiving core, including our tight ends.
Yeah. The big thing is, first of all, did you say our tight ends? Or are you saying you're a Redskin fan?
The
now?
Redskins. No, okay, I
Okay.
meant like
Just
the
wanna make
Redskins.
sure.
Sorry,
Just wanna make
no.
sure. It's
I'm
okay.
saying with the Redskins.
He's still fighting it. He's
I
still
know,
fighting
yeah.
the fact that
I
that's
see it, right?
in his heart
real
he
quick,
is a Redskins fan.
Someone just asked me to give him a shout out. Give a shout out to Graham, who's got the #1 pick in the draft. Played baseball all 4 years, high school for my dad. I believe he also played at Montgomery College. So shout out, Graham. Thank you for watching tonight.
Nice job.
Anthony, go ahead with your question we asked you.
Yeah. Listen, Deshaun Jackson, as you had so eloquently and nicely bring up earlier, always has an issue when he plays against the Giants. Always does stuff. But the biggest issue with Deshaun Jackson is he is a huge injury-prone player. If he's healthy, deep threat-wise, he's going to put a lot of corners. He's going to put them, to shame, and he's going to burn them like a piece of toast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it works with Deshaun Jackson. He's got elite speed, and he's got good hands. So if he can get around people, he can make plays. But that's the thing, is staying healthy for him. If he's healthy, I don't ever like to see that guy getting, outside this, the third level of the defense. So that's what worries me there. Garcon, another possession guy. But again, I know I've talked about this probably like the 5th time I'm going to say his name. The worst person I think matchup-wise that we have to face, because they always put a linebacker on a tight end, is Jordan Reed. I don't like the matchup that they're going to have against Jordan Reed. Especially with those guys healthy. You talked about Vernon Davis being there. I actually did not even know that he was there. So that's another guy. I mean, yeah,
Yep.
he hasn't been really doing much, but with Jordan Reed on the other side of you, that could be something that you could see a two-headed, monster at tight end. And Niles Paul's another guy that's, steadily had a decent performances year in and year out for them when healthy. So I like, the receiving core there. I also like the secondary of the Giants that you mentioned. I like Jenkins. I like Rogers Cromartie. I like Landon Collins. And I like this draft pick of Eli Apple. So I'm excited to see. Did you take Sterling Shepard?
I was waiting for it.
Oh, that was you? I didn't even see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how. I lost my whole train of thought. But I'm excited to see how that matchup goes, because I want to watch good football. Obviously I want the Giants to win, but I don't like watching teams play when they're not at full strength. So not having Deshaun Jackson in the lineup is going to give the Giants the advantage, I think, because then you're going to be able to have your number one guy on Garcon the whole time. So I actually wanted to ask Chris when he returns about, since the two of them are stepping out, you were saying that Garcon and Deshaun Jackson are both on contract years, right?
Yes, they both are. Yes, they are.
Right? So I wanted to get Chris's input on that. I wanted to see who he would prefer to keep if it comes down to one or the other.
Chris.
So I'll wait till he gets
Oh,
back
that's a
on
good
that.
question.
Yeah, I know. Okay, he's back already. There we go.
I heard. That's a good question, but honestly, if I had to choose, I think I definitely would choose Deshaun Jackson, even though I think he's the pricier of the two receivers. I think, like you said, he's just got that elite speed. He's got a chance. He's the kind of guy that can completely change a game and win a game for you. When the game's on the line, and we've seen it in Philadelphia. We've seen it here. He can definitely take the top off the defense and make that middle of the space a little bit easier and more open for Jordan Reed to catch those middle to short routes.
All right, and then everyone in the.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, I see that someone in the chat over here to the right, Christopher, wrote that speed is hard to find, and that's 100%. As a little wrestling note right there, speed is something, and you can't teach that. Speed is not something that's taught, so you either have it or you don't. So I think that's 100% a great, fact behind keeping Deshaun Jackson.
If we can afford him, I definitely would keep him. I certainly would. I'd love to keep them both, but if I had to choose one, I would choose Deshaun Jackson.
All right, and I put a little poll. Like Chris, he said also in the chat. Everyone who's there listening right
Jose.
now. I know that's my. Hey, I'm learning. Okay, I'm not the best.
Next time we know. Next time we know.
Like you're the best commissioner we have. So is Paul's a great commissioner. I'm the worst. I'm like who was that guy? I'm like I'm like Roger Goodell. I just don't care.
Oh, here we go.
So I'll say so. We all agreed Deshaun's probably the best to keep because speed's hard to find. So now we get to the defensive side of the Redskins, and the thing we got to talk about the most is Josh Norman. Signed Carolina, couldn't pay him what he wants, leaves, flew into Washington. Everyone said as soon as he came here, he wasn't leaving without a contract. Snyder, opens up his checking account, whatever,
His checkbook.
Checking account, whatever. Swiped his debit card, maybe his gold card.
No, all cash, straight cash.
Maybe he's got the Batman black card or whatever. So he does that, and then we see a couple of videos of him coming out of getting beat pretty badly by Garcon, Jackson. But those plays, he was a little bit off the line. Can you really take any of that consideration? What happened during training camp against those two guys? Anthony, what do you think about that? Those videos that came out of him.
I actually didn't see what you're talking about. The videos of Garcon.
Of Garcon and
Jackson
beating
just
Norman
beating him one-on-one.
When he was playing 10 yards off the line and Garcon ran an in route.
Listen, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I've talked to people about this before. I think Josh Norman is a good corner. He's a good corner. I think he also was good in the system he was in. Do I think he's not going to do well here on the Redskins? I think he'll do okay. But you have to remember that the way they ran a different kind of defensive style than the Redskins do. They're going to, if I'm not mistaken, the Redskins are going to play more. They play more man, or they play a zone.
I think they're more man, I believe.
They are more man. That's what I'm saying. In Carolina, they play a lot of safeties over the top. So that's where you might see him get a little more. I don't really look at the practice videos as something to translate. I watch the actual game because he could have just been jogging. He's not really. It's you're not playing at full force.
Practice.
You don't have that same kind of feel exactly. But I don't.
Practice? Practice?
Yeah. I know Matt's talking about practice.
First off, real quick before we get to to keep on that, Guillermo, our former co-host, said in the chat, both regarding Deshaun and Garcon, both are the same age. Garcon's slow but can run routes. Jackson can do the long ball and has speed. It's a toss-up on what you rather have.
Well, I think it'll be interesting, like I said, to see what we have in the rookie that we just
Dawson,
drafted.
yeah, and I think that's why they did it, to prepare for this.
Probably.
So back on back on Norman. What about the other side? You have Rashard Breeland, who came out of nowhere, and last year I think was it last year against the Monday night game against where or was it 2 years? I think it was 2 years ago, where he came on the scene and completely shut down Des Bryant. I mean,
that was interesting.
I believe he shut down Odell a couple of games, didn't he? I believe, Anthony.
I don't recall that.
I think.
Well,
of
I'm
course
just
he's not.
surprised that we have a Giants guy over here, and we haven't talked about the twice a year matchup we're gonna get with Norman and Odell yet.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked.
I'm surprised we haven't
Anthony,
talked about that.
what do you think about that?
Before we get to, I don't know if you guys see this, but defense has just gone back-to-back picks.
Yeah,
so
I saw
wow.
is that you think too early? I'd agree. I think too early.
Personally, too early, but
Yeah,
there's
you never
those
know.
people that
there's
want to
always
get the
those
number
guys, yeah.
one guy.
I'm looking for a kicker.
So.
If that makes any difference.
Oh jeez.
A taco? What?
I've seen Goskowski go as early as the 5th or 6th round. I mean,
That's-
what
that's
what
crazy.
pick
That
did he
happened the
go?
other day.
What round did he go with us here? It was a 5th round, wasn't it?
It was the 5th round. Yeah,
5th round. Someone took a
Goskowski.
kicker in the
Crazy.
draft. Yeah.
And then that starts the fad picking that everyone starts picking kickers.
Oh, like,
oh, wait,
like someone's
kickers?
gonna take 3.
Kickers?
You know?
Oh,
I
I got to
mean-
get a kicker now.
Yeah, kicker's
Yeah.
last pick. I don't need to be taking him early, but here's the thing with the Odell and Norman thing for me. I don't like the two of them going at play on the field.
Oh, yeah.
You got Norman saying, Odell's not that good. He made one catch. Then you got Odell running his mouth about Norman. One of them's gonna look like a fool. So you might as well just be like, hey, you know what? I'll see him when I play him week 3, and I'll do my talking on the field, because then at least if you do get beat, you got that second game to rebound. But if you run your mouth now and then you get shut down, it's just gonna look bad. So I don't like this smack talk the two of them playing. They're both, from what we've seen stats wise and what they've done the past year. I don't like that pick at 99th either, but
Eli went off the board.
but I don't know. I just don't like the smack talk stuff. I think that whole situation they had last year was terrible, the way it was handled. Odell should have been pulled off the field quicker, and he should have been ejected earlier. He shouldn't have still been playing. After that was going on, Coughlin or someone, Eli needs to get in his ear and be like, let's go, get off the field. But I don't want to see that stuff again. So I really hope that they have a hold on both of their situations, because they're both top players at their position. So it should just be that we're excited to see the matchup twice a year, not is one of them going to throw a punch at the other one during the game. We don't need Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson happening again. So that's my take on it.
Chris, what do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, but then again, it does make for good, entertaining football. You know what I mean? It builds that anticipation. Everyone wants to see that matchup twice a year.
That was my pick.
Yeah, I had him on my queue as well.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of person that I am too. You can talk all you want, but I'm going to show you what it's like on the field. And if I win on the field, then all that talk was for nothing. You're going to look like a fool. But the thing is, the receiver and corner positions, those are diva positions. You know what I mean? Those are positions where you're going to see the most divas. And that's exactly what we have here. We have two divas who think they're the best of the best in their position, and it's going to be fun to watch. I personally am not a fan of the smack talk, like you were saying, but there are certainly a lot of people that enjoy that and will watch it because of that. So it's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to see Norman and Odell, Norman and Dez, and Norman and who knows who from the Eagles. I guess Matthews, but it's going to be interesting and fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait. And then, like I said, on the other side, you got Rashard Breeland. So I think the Redskins have a pretty good duo at cornerback. But the problem is, if one of these guys get hurt, they're going to be hurting. Because you saw in the first preseason game, the backup, Dunbar, he got burnt. Oh, my. Okay. All right. That's fine. It's okay. Oh, no. Come on. You got to be kidding me.
3 receivers, man. I need a starter.
God, yeah, I'm sure you wanted to pick him. I'm sure you
I
had
did.
him.
I actually had him. I had
whatever.
Willie Snead or him.
Both my Titan guys taking back to back.
Listen, man, he's a
Unbelievable.
starter. You're the one that did 3 receivers. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself.
That's all right. I got my guy who I want next, but God.
Yeah, you took Sterling Shepard, so I mean it's even.
Bless America. So we saw during the first preseason game against the Falcons where their third string cornerback got lit up by Aldrick Robinson. So, Chris, what do you think about the depth of the secondary?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my queue now because all my players I had in my queue are gone. Oh
yeah,
man,
it's getting rough.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry. What was the question, Matt?
What do you think about the secondary depth?
For the Redskins?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be good. I don't think what's his face D'Angelo Hall is going to have to play safety, right? I don't think they're going to have to move him to safety this year. So
No, he is playing safety.
is he playing safety?
He's starting safety.
Oh gosh, here we go. Well, I think he's a decent corner. Obviously age is getting to him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why they are putting him at safety. Because he does have the experience in the secondary, and he might be an easy transition to safety. But I think the top two corners, I think we're going to be good. But I think it's, can we really get that front seven to get the pass rush? That's really where it matters, because I feel like teams can get away with having average to below average corners if you can just cut down the time the quarterback has to throw the ball. I think pretty much anyone can cover somebody for 3 to 4 seconds. It's when you get to 5 to 7 to 8 seconds where even an elite corner can get beat. And that's where I feel like we have to really focus is that front seven.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. I mean, Kerrigan obviously is going to be a beast.
Here's okay. We haven't even talked about that. Now you get the Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Junior's out again. This time it's his other Achilles. Anthony, what did you think when you heard about that? I'm sure good news for you. Someone who can't go after Eli, but God, 2 Achilles back to back on both ankles. Can you come back from something like that?
Yeah, and that's the thing of it. It's such a sad thing to hear about because he had promising and a lot of potential. Gillette did. So it's sad to see, especially opposite. You never want to see it happen. Period. Even one. But where it happens on both, you got to almost think that this
Good
is
pick.
this is his.
I'm
this is the end of his career, and I don't want to say something like that. I hope I'm wrong. But both of his Achilles, I mean, he's what, 27, 28, right? About.
Yeah, that's just bad luck. I mean,
It's not good, man. It's not good to have both. I mean, LeVar Arrington's another guy that he was on the Redskins and the Giants, and his career ended early because he had issues. Well, I think his was ankle issues, right? Or knee issues?
It was knee issues, but wasn't the big thing for
And-
him when he had that motorcycle accident?
But I'm saying he had to retire at 27 because
Yeah.
of issues, with his legs, and you don't want to see something like that. And Achilles is probably one of the most severe injuries too that you can get. So it's definitely not a good thing to see that. So I really hope that he rebounds, and at least hopefully he can get healthy and maybe give it another go because he definitely has potential. As a Giants fan, seeing him on the other side, you see him lined up, you're like, all right, this guy can cause havoc. So
do you
hopefully
think
he
we
gets
give
a
him
speedy
another?
recovery.
Do you think we give him another chance?
I think you do because I think he's going to sign less now. No one's going to pay him a lot of money.
No one's
Right.
going to pay him at all.
He may get the the lead minimum for a veteran. I think
Right.
he may end up getting that, and he's
If
gonna
he
have to
decides to play.
he's gonna have to do one of those 1-year things where he's gonna have to prove himself.
Damn.
So
I'm really stuck right now.
So now you got the front seven who's got to put pressure, to help out. Norman, like we said, different system. It's not, the front seven was very different
Down to 3 seconds, Chris.
from Carolina.
I didn't even hear the. Oh, that's because my sound's not on to remind me of
The
the
front
10 seconds.
seven's very different for Norman
Torrey
than
Smith,
from
huh?
Yeah.
than from Carolina. So
I'm not happy about that pick, but the other pick I was going to make was Travis Benjamin, but I think 2 of my receivers are by week 11 as well, so I couldn't take them.
all right.
Wow. Tyler Boyd this early, huh?
Yep.
All right. Hey, question for you. How many spots are on the bench?
Looks like 6 or 7. 7?
Because on mine it just shows me
6.
the
No.
whatchamacallit.
1, 2, 3,
6,
4,
7.
5, 6, 7. Yeah. So
7?
Yeah. So basically enough to get you your second defense and a second tight end.
I don't need second defense. I don't need that. Let me get 3
No.
kickers real quick.
That's what you need, though, 100%.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Taco. So, all right. So let's go with the rest. Let's go with their schedule this year. You got the Cowboys, Eagles, all them, but then you have all the division winners. So you're gonna have to play Minnesota. I think they also have Green Bay on. Actually, Minnesota won the division last year, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you're gonna have Minnesota, but I believe they also have the Green Bay. They also have the Panthers, Arizona. So the Redskins are in for
Oh, James.
you're gonna take Abdullah.
Yes, I was going to take Abdullah.
So, what do you guys think about the Redskins' schedule this year, and do you think they can overcome all these games? Chris, you first, since Anthony's picking.
I think we're going to come out of the gate strong. You know, I think we'll probably win. I can't remember what the first 5 games are, but
You got Pitt, Dallas, Giants, Cleveland, Baltimore.
that's right. Yeah, I think we've got the first 5 games. I think we go 4-1,
You can go 5-0, possibly.
possibly. I think we lose to the Steelers. I really do. I think that Steelers offense is just too good. I think that Steelers offense just trumps our offense, and essentially we're going to lose that game. But I could definitely see us winning the next 4 games. You know, with the Giants not being as strong as they were last year, the Cowboys losing their best
You
player.
say the Giants aren't as strong?
I'm saying their offensive line is not as strong. Their offense is struggling right now to,
Okay.
to get even first downs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we could take advantage of that. I feel like the Cowboys, with 2 rookies at 2 of the 3, predominant offensive positions, I feel like we can take advantage of that. And the Ravens, you know, it's tough because that's a home game for the
10
Ravens, but
seconds,
it's
Anthony.
essentially
I
a
know
home
it's gonna
game
be a
for
rush pick,
everybody.
man.
But I feel like we could definitely come out on top on that game. You know, I don't think the Ravens defense is where it used to be last year. I don't think the Ravens backfield is going to be as good as it was. So I think that we could definitely come out the gate 4-1. But after that, I don't see us winning 2 games in a row after that. I think it's going to be really tough to get to string wins together in the second half of the season. What do we have after that?
After what?
After the first 5 games, after
Well, you have-
after
well, you have-
Baltimore.
Well, you have Philly, then Detroit, so
Okay, so I could see us beating Philly.
maybe Detroit.
Detroit, I think, is going to be 50-50. It all depends on how
And then
how Stafford
this is when hell
copes to not having
after
his
this is when
blanket.
hell starts. This is when
Yeah,
you got Cincinnati,
basically.
Minnesota, Green Bay, Dallas, Arizona, Philly, Carolina, Chicago, and the Giants. That's how you end your season. So they got to at least win out of those first 7 or 8 games. You got to take 7 or 6.
You have
Just
to
have a chance.
You have to, and I think the deciding factor is going to be that game against the Detroit Lions. If we can win the first 6 out of 7 games, I think that is where we can, try to make that push for the playoffs in the last couple games of the season. Because I don't really, like I said, I see us struggling to get 2 wins in a row in that back half of the season. Where are we at?
It's we're back to number 1 pitch. So this is what I want to talk about now. Especially, I think Anthony, this will probably intrigue a lot of people in the league itself. Week 4, RG3 comes back to Washington. What do you think this game? Do you think there's going to be a lot more buzz around this game more than anything else? Do you think RG3 himself has this game circled around his little calendar? Anthony, what do you think about RG3's mindset probably going into Week 4? Do you think he has this game circled?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
I think anytime a player, I'm not saying, he got wronged or anything like that, but anytime a player gets, isn't on a team anymore and someone takes over their spot, they want to go back there and they want to prove why they should have stayed and the other guy shouldn't be there. So I think RG3 definitely has that game circled. Do I think they're going to win that game? No. But do I think that he's going to go out there and show that he should still be there? Yes, I do. I think he'll have a good game, but I don't see the Cleveland Browns beating the Redskins. And it's in Washington, you're saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see him going into Washington and doing that.
Oh, well, there's
But-
Gostkowski gone.
Yep, there he goes. I definitely think that it is going to be a huge game, and I think there's going to be a lot of buzz around it. So we'll see how it pans out. And but RG3 is definitely coming in and prove a point.
Any time you get released from a team, you want to go back and you want to show them that they should have kept you. But I think even more the way that he was just handled here in Washington, I think this is like the biggest game of his life. I think you need to prove to not only everyone. Well, I think you need to prove to everyone that you deserved to be that number 2 pick in the draft. And what was it, 2013? I think it was, or
12.
12.
I think it was 12, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the biggest game of his life. Are we going to win? The Browns going to win? No. But I think he's going to come back and say, he's going to raise a lot of eyebrows and say, well, maybe he wasn't done.
Well, here's my second question. All the stuff he would say sometimes about maybe the offensive line, blaming them, this and that. Do you have some defensive players that are going to gun for him, that are going to just come up and just go right after him? And if they get a chance, they're going to lay probably the biggest hit they can on him.
I don't see why.
You don't think?
Why? I don't see why. I mean, I don't think he came out and was disrespectful to those players. You know what I mean? I don't think he was disrespectful at all. I think it's going to be a lot of friendly, greetings before the game, after the game. I think there's still some I don't think there's that much bad blood that you're talking about.
Okay. Anthony, what do you think? I mean, he's come out in the media and sometimes says stuff about his offensive line, been implicated in the locker room. Anthony, do you think they may be gunning for him if he tries to go out of that pocket and gets in the open field?
I don't think that's ever something you're going to see.
Not said out loud, but
No, I don't think like he said, I don't think RG3 necessarily did anything.
You're on the
anything
clock,
wrong
by the
in the
way.
media's eyes. I didn't see him doing. I think he handled it with the best he possibly could. He got his walking papers, and he kind of, all right. He didn't go out there. He didn't go out there and say, "Well, this guy did this. This is why I didn't succeed, and this guy did that." There was nothing like that. Kirk took my spot when I was injured. He's lucky. Nothing. He didn't do anything like that.
Anthony,
he
you're
took
on
it
the
with
clock.
class. I know. I say it
Okay.
at minute 5. I got me on the left side here, and he took it with class, and he did what he had to do. I mean, I don't like when players go after other players for stuff like that. I think, like Chris said, I think they're going to go out there. They might, give him a hit. They'll pick, smack him, give him a smack on the ass, pick him up, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go after him purposely to gun for him.
Okay. All right, so it should be interesting week 4. And like I've said before, I'm not going to tune in to sports radio that week because I guarantee it's going to be nothing but RG3 Redskins.
Well, we're talking about it right now, aren't we?
That's true. But I do have one question about the Redskins. Let's say the Nationals. Now I think Anthony can speak for himself. With New York up there, their baseball teams and everything. I don't know how they are come baseball playoff time, but let's say the Redskins start, like we said, possibly 4-0, 3-0, stuff like that, and the Nationals are in the playoffs. Do you think the Redskins will get more than the Nationals playoffs run? I'm just bringing baseball into this. What do you think the city will be more buzzed about? Chris, this is for you.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out my depth right here.
Geez.
Yep. You're asking what the city's be more buzzed about, what the Nationals or
The Nationals in a playoff run, possibly in a World Series run, or let's say the Redskins maybe start 3-0, 4-0.
If you're in October, you're talking about the Nationals playoff run because you got to talk about what the that's a postseason, and this is a team that was touted as supposedly last year they thought they were going to be another star team. They had a lot of injuries that hit them, so I think if they make the playoffs this year, it's you got to think immediately right now, even before the playoffs, that it's between them and the Cubs for the NL. Teams are starting to slowly but surely. Whoever just picked Christine Michael, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. But you got to think that the Nationals have more buzz around them. And, I mean, you can agree. You've been talking about the Nationals all year, what they've been doing. And I think that if they do start 3-0, people are going to be like, all right, you know what, maybe the Redskins are, a real – but it's not going to have more buzz than the Nationals making the postseason.
I agree,
You know what I mean?
100%.
Well,
I
Chris,
mean,
you're not a big Nationals guy. What do you from your point of view?
Well, for me, I mean, definitely it has to be baseball. I mean, they're the number 2 team, I think. Aren't they the number 2 team in the NL right now?
They are, yes. As of
So,
right now.
I mean, as of right now, of course.
Yeah.
But I think they have to be the number 1, sports story in DC.
Mhm.
And then obviously as the playoffs go on and as we see how they do, eventually we'll start to fizzle and we can definitely talk about the Redskins probably starting off strong,
Okay.
hopefully going 6-1. But then after that is when
Trouble.
know.
Now, Anthony, how is it in New York if like the Mets or the Yankees are in the playoffs, but the Giants or Jets are having a great start to their season? What's that city more rallied around?
it's got to be the
Man, it just really depends on the time of the year. I mean, I always think football has a bigger following than baseball. I always hear, disagreement on that. But I think if it was the Giants, that's the other thing. You got to talk about the teams. The Giants, I think, would have more of a buzz than the Jets would because I think there's more fans of the Giants. But if the Jets and the Mets are the teams that aren't as likely that have been in the world, like, the Mets last year, that was a pretty big
it's
deal
on
when they
me
made the
again.
World Series. The Yankees have done it 27 times, so I don't think there would be as much buzz. But there's a chance, I know it's an outside chance, but the Mets and the Yankees could both be in the playoffs this year. It's very slim chances that both of them make it if either of them make it. But the Giants and the Jets could also get off the hot starts, but I think you got to talk about postseason. You're talking about playoff baseball. October and November baseball is what you wait for all year. So I don't see how the NFL, could supersede that with that kind of implications.
All
And
right.
vice versa if it was the other way around. I don't think that if it was NFL postseason, you're not going to talk about how the Mets or the Yankees get off to a hot start.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about the Skins, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys. Anthony, let's start with you. give me the order of the finish of this division.
I'll start from the bottom. 4, I have the Eagles. And it's so hard for me because I really think that if Prescott can even keep this team 4-4, that Romo, if he comes back by week 8 at the latest, or I think that he has a chance of going 6-2 down the stretch. I really do. I think that Romo makes that big of a difference, but who knows? They might have no idea what to do with Prescott, so he might even do better than that. But I think if he could keep them afloat, at 4-4, I think that the Cowboys could finish as high as first. But I don't think Prescott's going to keep them 4-4, so I'm going to have the Cowboys.
Damn, I wanted Fuller. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm going to go with the Eagles 4th, the Cowboys 3rd, the Giants 2nd, and the Redskins 1st. From what I've seen in the postseason. I mean, in the preseason. I'm sorry. From what I've seen in the preseason.
So real quick on your Redskins, being first, even with that tough stretch that I listed on who they play.
I think the Redskins finish 9-7.
And that's good enough to win this division again.
Yeah. I do think so. The
100%.
Eagles are not going to. If the Eagles are even close to 6 wins, I'll be surprised at the end of the season.
Me too.
So I don't think they're going to be a thing. And like I said, Prescott is a huge question mark. If he comes out and, like I said, if he goes 4-4, then I think you're talking about the Cowboys going 10-6 and winning the division. Because I think Romo could go 6-2 in the final 8 games if he comes back healthy. But that's the big question mark right now is can he go 4-4? And that's why I think the Redskins are going to, get rewarded for this because I don't think the Giants offense, I know people, keep saying the line will get better. I didn't like what I saw, and the defense can only do so much. If you keep them out there for 3/4 of the game, they're going to get tired and they're going to start giving up big plays. And the Redskins will exploit that with guys like Deshaun Jackson and Jordan Reed.
Okay. All right, real quick, just a little breaking thing. The Nationals were down 5-1 or 4-1. They just hit a grand slam. Nationals are up 5-4 right now. Phillies are beating Miami, and the Mets are tied with Cincinnati. So, implications on all those games right now and what's going on. I'm sure the Mets didn't like seeing that grand slam just a minute ago.
That's okay. Hey man, we're not chasing the if we can get to the NFC, to the NL East title, then we're gonna have to go on some kind of stretch. Let's get the wild card, and let's just play,
Well, I'm just saying all these
baseball.
games that bit, and I think also baseball. Real quick before we get to yours, for the Marlins, Stanton is coming off the DL, so people thought he wasn't going to play the rest of the year. So I think the Marlins are. I think this is not good for him. I think they're panicking, and they realize they maybe need him. So we'll see how that goes. But Chris, let's go with your division picks right now. Start from 4 up to 1.
I completely agree with 4. Eagles, I don't even see them getting to 6 wins like Anthony was saying. Right now I have them at 4-12. I think the Cowboys will end up being number 3, and I just feel like they can't get out of the hole that they're going to start, the first half of the season. I think Dak Prescott is going to do well, but I don't think he's going to do well enough to get them into the playoffs. And I think this year it's going to be a toss-up between the Redskins and the Giants. And just because I'm a Redskins fan, I'm gonna say that they win it. Like you said, 9-7. I see them winning 9-7.
And do you see it coming down to week and the Giants finishing 8-8 and losing the division?
I think so.
I think Paul, do you have something to say?
I was just gonna say what Chris in the chat in the YouTube chat said. He said number 1 or Eagles 4th, Dallas 3rd, Giants 2nd, Skins 1st, and he says that he believes that the Skins office is very dangerous.
Oh, they are.
They are. They could be. If the Redskins can get their running game going, they'll be very dangerous. Very dangerous. But
Matt, when you're calling me week 3 trying to trade for Matt Jones, we'll have this discussion again.
All right. So Chris, all right. So now that's time for mine.
Yeah.
All right. So I have the Eagles finishing last, and I actually have them going. Not even. I have the over/under for them 3 wins.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh,
3 wins.
3
wins. I'm gonna have the Giants finishing 3rd.
Really?
Nothing against you, Anthony. Sorry about that.
No.
Nothing
I just want to
against
make
you.
sure. Matt hedges his bets. 2 weeks ago, Matt told me that the Giants were going to win the NFC East. Now he's got them in 3rd place.
Hey,
I
I've watched some
I just want to
preseason
make sure
games.
we're on the same page.
I've
They
watched
were
some
terrible in the first 2 weeks.
I
And you were
I
picking
don't,
them to win.
I don't know, man. I'm going with I'm going to go with the Giants finishing third. Just
Record?
7-9 or
That is-
6-10.
Okay.
I'm gonna have the Cowboys finishing second, like I said, probably a 7-9, 8-8. I think Prescott will. We talked about him being a rookie in second stringers, but I still do believe with the weapons around him, he'll what?
I did see what Unicorn wrote. I'm waiting for my 2 draft picks, Tony Gonzalez and Ray Rice.
That's a joke for what happened. One of our leads one year, Tony Gonzalez had just retired, and one of the guys in our league took Tony Gonzalez, and I think he also took Josh Gordon the same year when he was suspended.
When he was suspended for the whole year.
So it was kind of funny. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys second. I know we said stuff about Prescott. I said all that stuff earlier, but I just feel like maybe he can do enough to hold off Tony Romo, especially seeing that Romo starting the year on the 53-man roster. Maybe they know something we don't know about when he's coming back. They may just.
Oh no! Who just took Carlos
Williams?
Graham. He got
got
released.
cut.
He got cut.
He's not even
He
signed
got
yet.
fat.
He got. It's okay. It happens every draft. Me and Paul, we have a guy who does that too.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm gonna say Prescott does enough to hold over till Romo comes back. Then they make a late season push, but I think it may be a little bit too late, but good enough for second. And then I'm gonna take the Redskins at 9-7 or even 10-6. I think they can run the tables in the very beginning of the season. There's a lot of winnable games, especially I think the first game is very winnable with Bell being out, and I think that could be a winnable game with Le'Veon Bell not being there. They're going to have to rely a lot on Antonio Brown, and the best part about the first game is we get to see what Norman can do.
Well, is it more winnable that Bell is out? Yes,
Yeah.
but I still don't think we can overcome,
Antonio Brown.
and that Steelers offense is just really, really good. And if we can't get any pressure on Big Ben, then I don't see us winning that game.
All right. Also, the Nationals just added to their lead. Ryan Zimmerman just blasted a solo shot, so it's 6-4 now. So I'm gonna go with the Redskins going 10 and either. I'm gonna say 10-6.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I think that I don't. I know it's. I don't like to say it as a Giant, and I'm not saying it as like I'm giving up on the Giant season. I think there's a very well chance that they could still win the division. But what I've seen, I'm going based off what I've seen, and I think the Redskins are going to win.
Yeah, as of right now, it's hard to place any bets on the Giants' offense right now. Just the way it looked, it was just god awful. All right, who do we have coming up right now?
So I think that does it for our NFC East preview. I guess if you three want to stay on air to finish out the draft, we can and just talk about every pick. Or, I mean,
Well, what do you guys think of your teams so far?
There we go. Yeah, we'll talk about Paul. We'll go with you first. What do you think about your team?
It's a well-rounded team. I crafted it with much knowledge.
Who's that guy, Andrew Luck?
Yes, that guy.
Should I take him or Kirk?
Gano's gonna.
First of
take
all,
the
I have a question about one of your pits. Who's Jesse James? This isn't the Wild Wild
Yes,
West.
please. That's what I want to know.
He's obviously one of the tight ends for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I've never heard of this guy.
And he's slated to, he might actually be a starter. I don't
Yeah,
know.
His average draft position is 128. So I mean, is he projected to be the starter there?
Well,
I don't
because what's his face? Ladarius Green is out. He's on the pup list right now.
Okay,
So
I've never heard of him. The only Jesse James I know was the guy who got shot in the back.
he was behind Heath.
Really? Okay.
Heath Miller.
Well, there we go.
one of my sleeper picks.
He's been the number 2.
So Graham wants to see what you guys think about
All
his
right,
team.
well, let's look at Graham's team. He's
All
got
right.
We're going to
Drew.
break it down.
He's got Drew Brees. Obviously, he had the first pick, so he got Antonio Brown.
Where are we?
Great
Oh,
pick.
there's Graham's. There you go.
So I like his first pick. Obviously, he's got the best receiver in the draft, probably the most point guy. He's going to get bearing any injuries, of course. Running back Eddie Lacy. I like it. I think he's going to have a better year. C.J. Anderson, I'm still iffy about. Last year a lot of people took
I
him
agree.
early, and he just busted out everyone. Emmanuel Sanders, another one that could be good if the quarterback is consistent. We have to see what happens there. Breeze is always going to throw up numbers for you. Greg Olson, great pick for the tight end. Let me see. Carlos Williams, not such a good pick.
I think if you just look at the starters right now, let's not look at the bench. If we look at the starters, I think this is a really good team for a 12-team league.
Yes.
You got an elite quarterback, the elite receiver, John Brown, who a lot of people are projecting to take over the number 1 role in Arizona. Fitzgerald has kind of moved into the slot a little bit to kind of get into the open space. C.J. Anderson, I'm still on the fence about Anderson as well. But if Denver paid the money to keep him here, obviously they saw something in him. And Lacey, I think, is going to have a good comeback season. Is he going to have comeback season, the player of the year? Maybe. I think he has that type of potential to on a team that's going to score a lot of points this year and be up by a lot early. He could definitely be a number one. He is going to be the number one on this team. And Olsen, I mean, what can you say? The guy is just consistent every year. He's going to be a top 5 tight end year in, year out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, Paul.
We had someone else just ask about their team as well. I think it was
Chris, your team sucks.
let's take a look at Chris's team.
All right. It's Anthony's turn right now.
I still think he Anthony. Oh no! Oh, that was a good pick for Paul. I like that rookie pick. I think he took Kirk Cousins way too early. I think we all agreed on that. I think Cousins.
Who, Chris?
Yeah, he took Kirk Cousins.
He didn't take Kirk Cousins, did he?
Pagan took. Yeah, that's the one that we talked about going before Ben.
No,
Carson.
Guillermo took Kirk Cousins.
No, Chris took Kirk.
No, Guillermo took Kirk Cousins. I'm looking at it right now, homie.
Oh crap! Wrong one.
So do you guys find, like, I'm looking at the standings right now, like, they just total up all the projected stats.
Oh, they've done that already? That's cool.
Yeah, it's I guess it's live, right? So right now, Little Jokester's in the lead. And Matt Still Sucks is number 2, Gmo's number 3, and Shipe, Shipe's the host, is number 12.
Oh, what?
Yes, you're number 12 right now.
Oh my
man.
God, I am. 4. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Do you guys find that actually is a good predictor, or not really?
Not really. I think you can't really go off predict because they don't predict, who's going to get hurt or not.
Right.
Well, no one can ever predict that.
You don't predict that.
It's a nice start. It's a nice reinforcement to say, hey, I did pretty well picking the team that I did. But
I did. Go on. Forget all that. That ESPN book at home, I'm throwing away in the trash.
But yeah, you can't really go off projections. I mean.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
Oh yeah, I don't have
it just
quarterback
changed
right now.
Matt, the Shipe host, just bumped up to number 9.
Yeah, with that Mariota pick. Woo!
You know who got number 12? Your wife.
That'd be me.
That's because she's got 2 picks to go right now.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. She's gonna pick right now.
After the 13th round is over, we'll have a better idea. All right, CGP, the main host. So about his team, he wants to know.
Oh yeah, let's go back to that. So I like Phillip Rivers. I was actually gonna pick him up that same round that you did, so you beat me to it. Odell Beckham. I mean, I think he's probably gonna be the star of this offense still. Is he gonna have the number 2 receiving season this year, where he was drafted at that number 2 spot overall? I don't know. I think Julio Jones is definitely going to push for that number 2 position. But I still think Odell Beckham. Oh, hold on. It's my pick. I think Odell Beckham is still going to have a good year. Sammy Watkins, Jeremy Maclin are good, solid number 2.
Here's the thing about
receivers.
Here's the thing about Maclin is they always say, oh, he's going to get 5 or 6 touchdowns. It's like they really don't throw touchdowns to wide receivers there. I mean, what was last year was like the first time in I think the year before that they never got one wide receiver scored a touchdown. It was crazy. The McCoy running back pick is really good. The DeMarco Murray one is the very interesting one this year because Tennessee has potential to have 2,000-yard rushes this year. Can you both maybe agree with that?
I don't think Henry's going to rush for 1,000
No.
yards.
But do you think Henry will?
I think he might have 10 touchdowns.
I was going to say they may have similar point totals because obviously Henry's probably going to be the vulture, but I don't see them both getting 1,000 yards. That's pretty crazy.
I think the last time was D'Angelo and Jonathan Stewart, wasn't it? Yeah,
I know that.
I think it was Stewart and Williams down in Carolina. So okay, so we'll see what happens there. Then you got Travis Kelce as a tight end, always a great, great. And then his bench tight end is Gary Barnett. So you have a double-headed, monster there at tight end. He has Deshaun, and then he's got another tight end, another one, Martellus Bennett. So Pagan's really tight end crazy. He must love them. He loves his tight ends.
I could see that being good if we had the flex being a tight end as well. That you can basically set that flex to be a matchup. Basically, whoever's got the better matchup. But I think that was a mistake, Chris, picking 3 tight ends. That's I think that's a mistake.
So James just wrote in the chat, we should go over everyone's teams. You guys just want to do that?
Sure.
Let's take a look at James's next, since we're talking about it.
No,
Oh,
sure.
come on, James! You gotta be kidding me, Ebron.
Where's James?
He's Matt still.
Matt still sucks.
Man.
Oh, then the bottom, towards the bottom.
If you don't
There we
change that, you're getting kicked. Just kidding.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
you've got an MVP candidate in Cam Newton. That's always a good thing. Des Bryant, I think his stock falls a little bit with Tony Romo not being the number one guy in the quarterback position, but I still think where you drafted him, which I think was in the second round, I think that's still a pretty good spot to get him. Doug Baldwin, I saw it in the preseason. Him and Russell Wilson still have the chemistry like they just left off last year, so I think that's a pretty good solid number 2. Michael Floyd, I think all 3 receivers are going to do well in the Arizona offense, so I could definitely see him being a solid number 3. Lamar Miller, a lot of people are projecting him to be a beast this year. I tend to agree with them. I think the way that the Houston runs their offense, they're going to give him the ball a lot. He's going to be on the field, I think, all 3 downs. So he's going to get a lot of
Paul,
chances.
come on.
Melvin
You want
Gordon,
Garcon?
he's supposed to
Yeah.
have a bounce back year. So I think, we'll see how that goes. I think that's kind of up in the air. Danny Woodhead, I think, still has a pretty good, solid, third down role in that offense, and also the hurry up offense. I think he's got that role pretty much locked up. But if Melvin Gordon can find the holes like they drafted him to do and produce like they drafted him, I could definitely see him being a solid RB2. Zach Ertz, I kind of already said how I feel about Zach Ertz. I'm not sure about that position, but you did draft Eric Ebron as a backup, so he's the starter there. They're going to throw a lot, so he's a red zone target. Not bad. And Marvin Jones, I was actually really high on Marvin Jones. I would have taken him a lot earlier before you, but his bye week, I think, messed with my bye weeks. Actually, no, I already had Golden Tate, so I wasn't going to take Marvin Jones as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree very much with the. I was
Vincent
never
Jackson
high on
is
Melvin Gordon either, so I really hope that he does have a bounce back year that they're talking about. So
Yeah, I mean they drafted him really high, didn't they? Was it the first or second round the Chargers drafted him, and he didn't produce, and that's why Danny Woodhead really had the season that he had last year. But apparently this year he's finding the holes. He's actually being productive, a lot more productive than he was last year. And barring injury, I think he's going to have a lot better season than he did last year.
yeah, I agree. Is there anyone else in the chat that we did not look at their team yet?
Let's go with Little Jokester.
All right.
Little jokes there, okay.
That's my cousin. So he started off with Julio Jones, not bad.
Who just took Mark Sanchez?
Chris
said he was.
That's his favorite player. So
Really? Okay.
no, not really, but
Let's go
he
ahead.
does that all the time.
Let's go ahead and
'cause-
just take his team and just put it right down a little bit. Paul, what's going on with the live updates
What do you mean?
for
Who's
the
first?
the standings
Top
right
five
now?
now.
What do we
Oh,
got?
Well,
Gotcha.
let's wait one more pick.
Oh,
'cause-
there it is. You said standings. Okay.
Yeah, once that last pick for Graham comes through, then you have the whole 14th round
my
done.
wife is fifth.
Yeah, Graham's currently at the 12th position, but that's probably
It's
'cause
going
he's
to change
about
as soon as he makes this pick.
Yeah.
Chris is in the first. Look at this for the wash in the first position.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, let's go back. Who we said? We were on my
We were
cousin.
looking at Little Jokester.
Little
All right.
jokester.
So let's first look at. I think he has a great receiving core. He probably has the best receiving core, I think, in everyone.
Let's see.
You
That
have
I've seen so far, like
Yes.
from looking through, yes.
that we've seen so far with Jones, Jeffrey, Nelson. I mean,
Even if Jeffrey doesn't have that elite year
Mhm.
that he did last year, well, not last year, but if he doesn't produce like he's supposed to in terms of being a wide receiver 1, he's still a great wide receiver 3. I mean, you can't complain about having Jeffrey as your wide receiver 3. I agree. That's definitely got to be the top 3 wide receivers right there for in terms of wide receiver core for our teams right now. I think I'd have to agree.
And
Go ahead, Anthony.
You get to his
no,
running.
I was
oh,
going to
go
say
ahead.
sometimes you would think like getting those 3 picks, as you could see, all top receivers. You would
Yep.
think the running backs would lack, but I mean, looking at Carlos Hyde and Jeremy Hill, that doesn't even look that weak either. So I mean, he looks like he has a pretty solid.
He's projected number
5
2.
there.
He's projected
Yeah.
number 2 actually.
Yeah, I mean,
he-
I like Jeremy Hill. Not very much in PPR leagues, but I think he still will produce, especially if he comes close to getting the double-digit touchdowns I think he got last year. Carlos Hyde is the one player that kind of is, a lot of people are high on him this year. I just don't trust that San Francisco offense at all. We'll see how he is. He helped me beat you week 1 of my league last year.
Can you not? Can you not?
Where he had that awesome
Hopefully
game.
Talk about that some more.
I think it was
How do you
against
like
the
punt
Vikings. Well,
Really?
but
How do you
we'll
like
see.
Super Bowls?
We'll see. He is obviously he's their guy. I mean, he's their clear-cut number 1 right now. I think they're going to have to lean on him based off of the quarterback play that we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see him being the RB1 that he wants him to be. I think Jared Cook is a very sneaky top 10 tight end pick. He's never really had that elite pass, quarterback, I guess, in the passing offenses that he's been in. And I think he could definitely be a sneaky top 10 pick. So I like that pick a lot.
All right, and then and then also you look at his receivers, his bye weeks 11-9-4. They're never gone the same time, which also helps out. Which means you're always going to have 2 of them on at the same time.
Yep, definitely.
So that definitely helps out. And his bench, he's also got Jordan Matthews. We got to talk about him. His bench, you got Charles Sims, Corey Coleman, Zach Miller. So we got to see how that bench goes. So let's move. Someone pick the Nets team. Let's look at Chris's team, the co-host for the wash.
All right, let's see. I haven't looked at my team in a minute. Where are we? Yeah, I got to change my name. I couldn't even find it. All right, well, Tom Brady at quarterback. He was around, round 12, 11? I figured I got to take a stab at Tom Brady. If he comes back and he is Tom Brady, the normal Tom Brady we're all used to, I think he's a no-brainer to pick up that late in the draft.
I 100% agree.
Brandon Marshall, he's got a car on the line this year. I mean, I wouldn't want to lose the car that he put up against Antonio Brown. So, he's got motivation to have this be a really good year. Keenan Allen, I think, was a pretty solid number 2 receiver, especially in PPR formats. Also, Jarvis Landry. I like those 2, especially in PPR leagues. Where I think I lack is running back. Giovanni Bernard as my RB1 in a PPR format maybe could work. It depends on how Jeremy Hill does. What I read is that Jeremy Hill is going to have a tough time the first 2 or 3 games against the top 3 run defenses last year. So if for some reason he struggles and maybe they go back to more of a passing attack in the Bengals offense, then obviously Gio Bernard is going to get a lot more opportunities. But we'll see. Arian Foster was just named the starter this year. If he's on the field, he's an elite player. I don't think anybody can deny that Arian Foster is an elite running back when he's on the field. The problem is, how many complete seasons has he had in the past 5 years? I mean, that's a very risky pick, but I felt like whenever he's on the field, he's going to be an elite guy, and I just had to roll the dice. I think round 6 or 7 is when I picked him up, so I felt like it was worth it. What do you guys think?
I agree. I liked it.
I mean,
I like the Tom Brady pick a lot. It was
honestly, I was like,
man.
Where's Tom Brady? I feel like he's been drafted already, and I look, and I was like, he hasn't been drafted? All right, I'll take him. Why not?
Yeah.
I have to roll with Stafford for 4 weeks. I think I can deal with that.
Bojo chimes in and says to Anthony to take the Temple product.
Yes, I probably will. I know who he's talking about, and we'll keep it at that. I know exactly who he's talking about. Another pick that I don't know if you mentioned it. Kobe Fleener. I like a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't get to the tight end.
In that
Yeah, my
Saints
bad.
system, I like him a lot. I think that he has every chance to be similar to what they did with Jimmy Graham because he has the height, and his biggest thing was sometimes he dropped passes, but Drew Brees is going to be throwing darts at him. They're just going to be sticking to him at this point. So I mean, I really like that pick a lot, Fleener.
Yeah, I don't think he really got an opportunity to be the clear cut, tight end 1 in the Colts offense. Him and Dwayne Allen split time a lot. So we'll see how that works. I'm really high on him. Drew Brees is really high on him, and if Drew Brees is high on him, then he's going to look for him. He has a lot of mouths to feed, but he could definitely be a red zone target. And I hope that ends up happening. Golden Tate. As a flex, I don't see a problem with having Golden Tate as a flex. I don't think he's going to be the clear-cut number 1. I think him and Marvin Jones are both going to have great seasons. But as a flex, I'll take him as a flex all day. Who haven't we looked at yet?
My
Your
team.
team?
Yeah,
All right, let's go
my
Matt's
team.
team. Where are you?
Is Colston a free agent?
Yes. I believe so.
See how that pick works.
Not bad.
Where are you?
Starting-
man?
I'm just trying to queue up my players real quick, so this way when we talk, I can.
Oh, crap. It's my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, for
Jose took it quick. Oh, what do you think about Vereen?
Another guy. He's going to be in the offense. You know, he's very much on passing downs. So if it is PPR this league, yeah,
It
right.
is.
So that's always a nice pick with a PPR league. I really don't think the Giants have an identity at running back. So I think that it's so hard. That's why I really always stay away from the running backs. Vereen's the only one I would ever think about taking late because of the PPR. But Rashad Jennings, unless they're going to make him get 20 carries a game, I wouldn't want to take him. You saw last year how bad it was. I mean, Jennings had a huge game against Miami, but there was 1 week where Darkwa had a touchdown. Then Andre Williams was running the ball. And, you know, now they got rid of Andre Williams, but they kept Bobby Rainey, who will probably play more special teams, and they have that rookie that they drafted, Perkins, on the roster still, too. So I'm not a big fan of taking any of the Giants running backs, but if I had to choose out of the 5 who I'd take first out of them, it would be Vereen. So I don't think that's a bad pick. Was that the Jets or the Giants defense just taken?
Jets.
Okay.
I picked the Jets. If I don't have an elite defense, I'd sometimes like to have 2. But I've definitely won leagues where I've just streamed defenses every year, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Matt, another question. Do you use an IR in this league?
No.
Okay.
I've never even seen a league that does that.
Oh, I've seen plenty.
Oh, yeah. I'm in like 3 right now.
Yeah, I was going to
Really?
say I have
That's
a couple.
interesting.
Yeah. Especially if there's someone that's like that was on the PUP list that you could put on there. This way you
Mhm.
could stash them till like week
Did
8.
you guys even go over my team, or did I totally zone out?
No,
No, we're
yeah.
going to go over it now. We
Yeah, 'cause
got
it was
you
just my
caught up
pick, that's
talking
why I
about
was-
Vereen.
So wait, there's leagues that you can put an IR spot,
Mhm.
injury
Yeah,
reserve spot.
but the guy has to actually be out. It happens in a lot of leagues that do keepers for the most part, but other leagues will do it like, especially with now how they do the PUP list where the guy can be out the first 6 weeks, and then they could be brought back up. Since they're not going to be on it, you can put them down there and then pick up someone else off the waiver wire in the meantime until then. But then once he
Gotcha.
comes back, then you got to take him off and drop somebody. So
Right. Okay.
Matt, we're talking about your team.
Yep.
Do you want to take the lead and kind of say like what you were thinking with some of the picks, or do you want Chris to just kind of lead his way and say what he agrees with and what he doesn't?
I'll let you guys take the lead.
Sorry, I was drafting.
That was a good pick.
Hey, I mean, he's been hooking up with RG3 all preseason, so why not take a flyer in second to last round?
All right, go
Fair
ahead and
enough.
tell me what you guys think.
All right, where's your team?
First up, you got Roethlisberger at quarterback. Never a bad pick. And you got Mariota
there we
backing
go.
him up, which I knew you were going to. Oh, who took Perriman? Was that James?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Freaking UCF guy, that's my guy. I had him on my queue too as my last pick.
Oh man, James did a robbery.
I think where you messed up, Matt, is Allen Robinson and Allen Hearns.
Yeah. The more I think,
You know,
about
it could work out for you. It would have worked well for you last year. But like I said, I don't feel like they're gonna have as many garbage time touchdowns. And Allen Hearns just got paid, so maybe he's not gonna feel like he needs to score, double-digit touchdowns. But I think Allen Robinson now saw, hey, if he can get paid, I can get paid too. So I think Allen Robinson is going to have a better year, but I don't think Allen Hearns is going to have the same type of production he had last year.
Well, if it comes to it, maybe someone will want to trade for one of them. Who knows?
It's possible.
Yeah.
We'll
Bojo,
see how
this
that
one's
goes.
for you.
Oh, is that the Temple product?
Yep, McManus, yeah.
Oh,
Who the
jeez.
Giants had and traded for a freaking conditional 7th-round pick and kept Josh Brown stupidly.
What do you think about my running back?
Well, you
Hold
did
on,
take
Paul.
Matt Forte. I had him queued up in that round, or the next round, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Stewart, I don't know, man.
I like Jonathan Stewart.
I think he's going to be good, but I don't know about an RB1, especially in a PPR league. I don't know about that pick. What do you guys think?
I like Jonathan Stewart. I think I like that pick, especially with Benjamin back. I like that now they actually have a legitimate someone to fear on on the receiving side. So where they might
might have might not
there he
have
goes.
stacked
There's
boxes.
Bojo. Bojo in the chat sounding off. The pick that I like a lot at running back that you took is someone on your bench. I love Christine Michael. I really like that pick a lot. I don't like your pick of Justin Forsett just because they did cut him. I know they brought him back, but I don't know. I like Stewart. I agree. I'm not huge on Forte either. I just don't like the way the Jets use their running backs. Ivory they used well last year, but I don't know if Forte will stay healthy either.
Virgil Green, I like that pick. If you were watching the preseason, the Denver quarterback is, for some reason, loves Virgil Green. I mean, they hooked up a lot, and he didn't have the starting position at the beginning of this preseason, but he's earned it. I mean, he's definitely earned that position, and I think, again, he'll also be a sneaky top 10, top 12 pick, or top 12 position in the tight end at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Derrick
we're coming
Henry?
up on the last round, are we? Yep.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
almost
almost
Derrick
there,
Henry at flex. I mean,
But he probably
I love
won't
that
be my
pick.
flex right now. I just took him when I took him. That was the only
Right,
position left. He
right.
probably won't be in my flex.
well, at flex, you have options. You've got Sterling Shepard. You've got Sammy Coates. I mean, I'm not sure how he's... They were really high on him first couple weeks, and I don't think he's panned out like they wanted him to, but it's preseason. We'll see once the regular season starts. But Chris Johnson, where'd that come from?
Yeah,
he's the number 2 guy. He's the
Yeah,
change
but-
of pace back, and if Johnson goes down for whatever reason, the other Johnson steps right in. So I mean,
That's
never
true.
know.
I guess as a
in
flyer,
a
late round
draft
flyer.
in a draft like this, you got to take some backups.
yeah.
That's
So,
true.
So who else haven't we covered? Should we cover my wife's?
Sure, why not?
Let's go to Hello Kitty
Wait. Let's see what the standings are like after Graham's pick here.
for the wash. Yeah,
I mean,
11.
we could cover my team at some point too, if you'd like.
Do you want to do that first,
No, go with your wife's.
and then we'll do yours. We'll save
I'm looking here.
greatness for last. How about that? Is that what you want to hear?
No, I don't want to hear that.
Okay.
I
By the
haven't
way,
heard that
I
yet
think
this week.
we officially eclipsed the record for the longest show we've ever done in studio.
Jesus, it's 9 o'clock.
Paul, what do you think?
I'm starving.
Yeah, what time did we start?
Around 7:15.
Basically
Yeah.
as the draft was starting, 7:15.
Mm-hmm.
Not counting shows at BWB, this is our longest. We're on the last round,
That's crazy.
so we did it, guys. We made it. God, this draft almost took 2 hours. Definitely taking the things down to a minute next year.
100%.
Kendall Wright off the board.
All right, here we go.
What
With
do
the
our
standings right
looking
now,
like?
we have Chris projected to do first,
Jeff,
Little Jokester, Paul,
Paul,
Pagan,
Guillermo,
Joe, James,
Jose.
Jose, Graham, my wife, Anthony, me, Brad.
Wow. I'm in
Man,
10th.
Matt,
Oh,
you
that's
suck.
horrible.
I know, I'm the host. All
Matt
right, so
still sucks.
so let's look at my Hello Kitty's team.
All right, Hello Kitty, and then we got Anthony's
Yeah.
team. All right,
I think you can make a case to where
Hello Kitty.
pretty good wide receiving core there
Yeah, not bad.
with Evans, Cobb, Fitzgerald.
Not bad. I think Evans will be probably a bottom of quarterback one. Sorry, not quarterback. Wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Discussion there. Randall Cobb did not have a good year last year, statistically.
With Nelson back
I was
now.
going to say he was struggling to get separated, and he also was injured. He definitely messed up his shoulder last year. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, he's old, but he's gold. I think he's a solid number 3 receiver right there. Le'Veon Bell, when he comes back, I think he's still going to end up being top 3, top 5 running backs at the end of the year. Again, Jamal Charles is not healthy right now, but when he comes back, you know what you're going to get from him. Jimmy Graham is iffy. I mean, he may not even play week 1, so that's going to be a little bit of a tricky situation there. Let's see. Running backs, you got D'Angelo Williams as a handcuff. Probably starting D'Angelo Williams in the
and
first
Chris,
week.
and Chris Ivory.
Chris Ivory.
Darren Sproles is not a bad little PPR guy.
In PPR format.
We've
it's
seen
not
Pagan
bad.
can have outsaid many times. Who was the one that won because of Sproles? Was it Pagan or Jose?
I'm the one that keeps losing to Darren Sproles.
Okay, you lost to
Like
Pagan one year. I think you were up by 20-something points, and Sproles just completely just obliterated that game.
There was a week when I was playing Jose, who's unicorn in this league. I was up by 60 point whatever.
He had Graham and
He had
Sproles.
Jimmy Graham and Darren Sproles, and they completely came up with like 30 points each. It was like the craziest game of my life.
Funchess isn't a bad pick.
We'll see. I mean, now that Calvin Benjamin is back, obviously his production is going to fall.
Anthony, I'll trade you Hearns for Sharp.
No. No.
All right, well, let's
you want
look
throw
at
something else in there.
Let's go to Anthony's pick. Let's go. Maybe I'll look at it later. Let's go to
We'll
Anthony's
take talk.
Let's go to Anthony's team. So he has Russell Wilson, the quarterback, never bad. You'll get the running yards and the passing yards.
You'll get the 6 points for rushing and 6 points for passing.
Then
So I don't blame you for taking
receiving
him that
core.
early.
You have Hopkins, Cooper. Diggs is where it's a good pick, but how does he do with Bradford or Hill,
Yeah, that's
whoever's
gonna
being his
be-
quarterback?
That's going to be interesting to see. But definitely, DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper, I think, are both wide receiver ones, hands down, especially in PPR formats.
Doug Martin, not bad. Langford.
I like Langford.
I think you got him last year. didn't you?
Definitely Langford was a bloodline. He definitely helped me get into the playoffs last year, and I think being the clear-cut RB1 for the Bears, I think he's definitely gonna
Nice.
produce.
Oh,
Sorry to interrupt. That was a nice pick, Paul.
I missed it.
should I admit that it was by mistake?
Just take it. Just take it.
Hey,
I wanted to
He's the
draft.
number 2.
I wanted
Stop
to draft
listening.
the Washington defense.
well, Washington.
You got a Washington.
Washington.
That's true.
A lot of people are saying by midpoint of this season that he could end up being the starter for the Raiders offense.
Nice.
We'll
There's
see how
Anthony
that
with
goes.
taking the butt back up. Good pick.
Yeah.
Little
Clear number 2. They're saying that he already earned carries in the regular season beginning.
Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rob
yeah.
Kelly did. Uh-huh.
No, Kelly
Oh,
took Kelly.
Kelly.
He
No,
took the
he
handcuff.
definitely did too. Yeah, he definitely did.
There goes
Um,
Aguayo. James
Hey,
took him.
how many field goals that guy missed?
It's okay. It's preseason.
Don't worry,
Get
you
him out
don't
the
get
way.
points taken away for missing field
Matt,
goals.
you're up, just so you're aware.
That's all right. We're
Um,
at kickers, I think, now, right?
Yeah.
All right, kicker.
And to rebuttal, the thing with Diggs is I like Diggs' upside. That's why I took him where I took him. And I think with Hopkins and Cooper, I can kind of keep him shielded as the 3. He's not relied on as my top 2 guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's another reason why. And that's why I also drafted, Sharp. And I drafted
He's got a
Hogan,
lot of
too, who
upside.
I think
He's
has
got a lot of
a lot of
upside.
potential with PPR league.
All right. So then you got Julius Thomas on the tight end, and you have Matt Jones, obviously, Sharp, Coleman, Chris Hogan, Jameis Winston is your backup, Terrence. I mean, you have a pretty good lineup going on there.
Terrence West I like a lot because he's presumed to be the starter with Forsett when he was cut at the end of the preseason. They were saying Terrence West would be the guy. And I
Does
don't know if you
anyone
gotta-
else understand why they dropped Forsett then signed him to the Jameis contract? Was there a reason for that?
Was it the same contract?
That's
didn't
what I
see that.
heard.
Yeah, I didn't. I heard they cut him because there was some kind of bonus he was going to get if he was on the roster, and they didn't want to give it to him.
Oh.
But they said they had every plan of bringing him back.
I hope they told
You know.
him.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just try and restructure. You know what I mean? If they were going to get him back anyway, if I was Forsett, I would have left. You cut me to just re-sign me. I don't understand. You know?
Yep. All right. Well,
Just cheated him out of his bonus, man. That sucks.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean
think-
that's what I'm thinking. I don't understand what other reason would be to cut the guy.
I think that's going to do it, guys.
Yeah, a quick update for the Mets now. The Mets are down 3-2 now in the 5th. Are the Nationals still in the lead?
Tied sits.
Tied 6-6. Okay.
So I think that's going to do
So-
it for us. So I think, did you guys have fun doing this? I mean, it was long, but I think it was pretty fun. Something different for once. I mean, what do you think, Paul?
Yeah.
You going to do this again next year, guys?
Sure.
All right, so loser from the 4 of us has to run a naked mile.
How about a beer
Oh,
mile?
God.
Okay, beer mile. That's fine.
Cool, I can do the beer mile. Anthony will have to do it live. So
I guess
once
I'll come
again,
there.
everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking around for our live fantasy draft. Everyone in the chat room, from James, Pagan, Jeff, Jose, Bojo, God, Graham, everyone who was in the Brad, Guillermo, everyone who contributed in the league, everything. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for sticking around for 2 hours. Very, very big announcement this Sunday, live from Buffalo Wings and Beer.
Sunday,
In Germantown, Maryland, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You'll catch Shipe Sports Talk there live. You'll see Paul, Chris, myself, and Coach. We will be going our full NFL preview. We'll break down all the leads, who's going to win what. We'll break down, we'll do our fantasy for week 1. We obviously won't cover the Thursday night game, but we'll cover the games for that day. And we'll also do a preview of Redskins versus the Steelers. And then starting back up next Tuesday, we'll have that 30 minutes of fantasy football and then breaking down the Redskins game to come up and the game before. So pretty exciting stuff coming up for the NFL season. Anthony, thank you for joining us. You can catch me and Anthony on OT3 over the top. God darn it.
Off the top
Oh,
turnbuckle.
I'm going with the other one. Off the Top Turnbuckle podcast every Monday at 7. This Monday we'll be reviewing Backlash, the pay-per-view for WWE. So check us out on Monday. So yeah, big 3 days for Shipe Sport Talk and OT3.
Right on.
Yep.
So
And
once
I wanna say
again,
thank you for
Yep.
having me, to all of you. Thank you
it's
very
fun.
much. It's been a
Definitely.
pleasure.
It's been a lot
of course,
fun.
man, love your insight on the Giants and your football and sports all around. I mean, we'd love to have you on as much as we can here. So
appreciate it.
So for myself, Chris, Paul, special guest Anthony, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the draft. They'll be posted live on Facebook and YouTube. You can check it out. Go back and rewatch it and see how a friend-filled draft goes about. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the start of the NFL season and enjoy. Whoa, that was the end of the Yahoo thing. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, everyone. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Have a good night.
I can't wait to do a live draft. With the draft board and everything, I'd love to do that. Are we gonna get a trophy or something?
For this,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna buy something small one. If y'all
Yeah.